risks. They had to feel uncomfortable, because I know there were a lot of you, probably especially my daughter, who were very uncomfortable with this situation. And it's a place where you have to make a choice. Do you stand up for something that makes your stomach turn a little bit? And so how many of you felt your stomach turn a little bit as this thing progressed? And I received some comments from you. And I know that for you, maybe it was a little bit hard. For me, it was hard too, because I'm not usually the ogre type, especially with you guys, right? So you probably saw a side of me that you were like, what's happening, right? But I had to play my part. With the revolution and events leading up to the revolution, the Stamp Act was one of the first things that occurred that the British tried to get more money out of the colonies. And they were trying to have them help pay for things going on with the British government, more than what they were used to. And as you've been learning, the Stamp Act was not the only act. There was the Iron and Woolen Acts. There was so many different ones that they would just send. And I liked on this one today, I don't know who did this one. Well, that was somewhere. It has the word repeal. Repeal, take it back. And the British would make an act, the colonists would react in different ways. Maybe by a boycott, I heard that term. It's good use of a social studies term. Or sometimes even violently. I heard some people talk about tar and feather. I said, that would not go well. But it took a risk for our founding fathers, for the sons and daughters of liberty, for people like Sam Adams and Ben Franklin and Paul Revere. And that turned into finally the British saying, we're going to punish you, and especially in Boston, because Boston seemed to be the hotbed. They sent 10,000 troops to Boston. And then they heard of munitions and guns being stored up in two places, Lexington and Concord, right? And then the British marched out of Boston. Remember the one is by land, two is by sea, the lights? And they marched out, and that's where we get, I don't know, was it this grade you were reading The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere? Yeah. Perfect timing. And that's really when the revolution started. And it took people willing to risk everything. Now, I also received some feedback from you about some other people who have protested. One of them was Martin Luther King. And he was someone who protested through peaceful means, sit-ins. And he didn't want violence. Another one I got was Malcolm X. He was all about violence. Okay? Now, for you, I want to challenge you with something. You have seen protests, even as recent as our presidential election, right? You've seen people up in arms about certain things. My challenge to you is this: how should Christians protest? Maybe some of you have been a part of protests. My family has been a part of a protest, pro-life. We held up signs. That's it. I didn't go and break windows or do something violent. But I think for you, be critical, take a critical look at how people protest. And then really look to the Bible. Look for your teachers, maybe, to guide you into what are proper ways. Now, I know I came the other day and I ripped up something in front of you. That's because no names were on it. You have to be able to stand for what you believe in. And so I ripped it up. This one didn't have it. This one did. I was glad to see that. Even with Mr. Waiter in red. But we need to learn to stand for our faith. We need to learn to stand for things that are right in this world. We need to learn how to do it. I think that is the most important piece. What should we stand for? And then how do we stand for justice in this world, and love in this world, and mercy in this world? And it's the manner in which you do it that people say, oh, that's a Christ follower, because I can tell. Or, oh, that's not. We are a witness wherever we go. So, thank you for participating so well in the exercise of the Stamp Act 5th grade version. Now we're going to move. You have to do 4. No, just kidding. It is now repealed. The logos have been
The logos have been repealed.